Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Addie, and today we are going to be discussing my summer TBR. I have compiled a list of 13 books that I would like to read this summer season. Is it gonna happen? No. I already know that right now. This is so unrealistic and definitely not gonna happen, but you know, that's okay. These are just some of the books that are on my radar. I'm going book shopping sometime this week for a lot of June releases. Next Monday's video will be the haul of that. So I'm also going to be discussing some summer releases that I'm so excited for and will most definitely be attempting to read this summer. The first book that I have is The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand, and I have never read an Ellen Hildebrand book, but her books have always very much intrigued me whenever I've heard anyone talking about them, because I hear, at least through the grapevine, like it's more than just like a romance. Like this is in like the fiction section of Barnes & Noble, like it's not in the romance section. Like I think it's more like women's fiction, if I'm right, but like it gives summer. Like look at this cover, like that is complete summer vibes. I feel like since I bought this for the summer, I feel like I kind of have to read it. I don't know why I bought this one. She has so many books. I kind of just, this is the one I heard someone talk about like once, so I got it. So this is pretty high priority. I really want to read this. The next book that I have is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and this one I really wanted to read because I've heard so many things about it, and everything I hear I'm like, I would love this, I would love this. Like, why have I not read this? This is middle grade, and I haven't read a ton of middle grade, but I just love like cutesy little fantasy books like this. Kind of, I love whimsy. I am obsessed with whimsy, so I have heard this is very whimsical, so I'm very excited about it. The next book I have is another romance. This summer I feel is very romance heavy, even though it's not the genre that like I particularly like to pick up. I like it as a palate cleanser when I'm reading my fantasies and stuff like that. I don't know, so the mood definitely strikes me the most in the summer to read a romance, and I always just like them for, as I said, palette cleansers. And the book that I have is Every Summer After. I have had this book on my TBR forever, and it literally has summer in the title. I've also, the third book in this little like interconnected standalone series I think just came out, and I've heard everyone and their mother talking about it. Also, everyone talks about this book. I do know one thing about it that I don't particularly think I'm gonna like, but I'm hoping it'll still be entertaining and I will still like it. But I think it's really short. I think it'll be good as just to cleanse my palate. And even the cover, like they're jumping off like the deck of like a lake pier, and I'm a lake girl. I love the lake. I think this will give me the vibes that I'm looking for. The next book is another romance. It is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. I actually love this little interconnected series. This is the third one. The first one is Love Light Farms, which is like a 5-star read for me. I love that romance. It's like a Christmas one, but each book follows a season, and the first one's winter, the second one's spring, and this one's summer. And the winter one was so fantastic. I loved that book so much. Definitely read it around Christmas time though, because like it just put me in the Christmas spirit. But unfortunately it is not Christmas, it is summer, and I'm not a big summer girl. I don't really like this season. I do not like summer. I don't like summer. I'm okay with spring. Fall and winter, that's where I thrive. Anyway, this is the summer one though. I'm excited about this couple because they've hinted at the last couple books, so I'm very excited to get to them. And there's only one more book in the series after this. I'm not quite sure if it's out yet, but I do want to have finished the entirety of what, I don't know what series this is. This is like, I think it's just the Love Light Farms series. I do really like this. I think it's super underrated. I think this series is just so good. It's so just like lighthearted and just like fun. The town that it's set in is like Love Light Farms is so cutesy, small town. Like it gives like Gilmore Girls. That's what that town gives, and I think that's what I love about this series so much. So it's just so much fun, and I don't hear people talking about this series enough. I love it. The next book that I have is another romance, and it is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. Again, heard so many things about this. Super tiny, huge font. It's gonna be a great palette cleanser. The second one just came out, and I've heard pretty good things about it, so I'm excited to get to that. So I'm excited to see what the hype is with all of this. I'm pretty sure it's like a brother's best friend trope, which I love. I just read Wild Love, so definitely high on that trope right now. But yeah, I think this would be a good one, like in between like reading like I'm reading Words of Radiance soon, so I think maybe sometime around there this will be good for me. The next book I have is Wayward by Amelia Hart. This is one I have not heard anyone really talk about, but it was on my spring TBR, but I just never got to it, so I just thought to shift it just a little bit forward. It definitely gives more spring vibes to me, but that's okay. I think with like the foliage on the cover, like that is giving spring. I'm just obsessed with this cover. Like, it's gorgeous. I love it. I'm really hoping to get to this. I know the story has to do with witches and cottages. It sounds so fabulous. The vibes sound honestly just immaculate. It was a Barnes & Noble like monthly pick, so I usually like their monthly picks, so I have high hopes. The next book I have is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. This is a thriller. Thrillers I'm always in the mood for in summer, and this one I know takes place in summer, and I've had this book for a couple years now, so I think it's probably time I get to it. I got it, I think I got it for like Christmas a couple years ago, but I know it takes place in summer. It says, one of us is a liar, one of us is a stranger, one of us is a cheater, but which one of us is a killer? That sounds really good to me, to be honest. Oh, it's set on like a Greek island for a bachelorette party? That sounds amazing. I've always really wanted to go to Greece. I've never been to Greece, but who needs to go to Greece when you can read a thriller about a killer at a bachelorette party? That's what I say to make myself feel better, but that's okay. One day. I just love thrillers. I don't read them enough. Whenever I read a thriller, I always really enjoy it, but it's definitely not the genre that I pick up frequently. But I am definitely excited to add this to the TBR. This is one of the few books on the TBR that I think actually takes place in summer, so it's perfect. Next book I have is another little palette cleanser for me. It is The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I actually love Sarah Adams romances. The only one I haven't read is The Cheat Sheet, which I know is like the first one in this little series. I just don't really care. If I really like this, I'll go back and read it. However, I've read When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect last summer. When in Rome was good, but Practice Makes Perfect was phenomenal. I loved that book. So if you haven't read that, you should definitely read that. However, I really like her romances. Just like, they're super cutesy and fluffy. Also, if you want like a closed door romance, but there's still adult romance, Sarah Adams is your girl. I really enjoy her. It's just a really fun, cutesy time, and I'm very excited to read her new release. The next book that I have is The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I love A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That is one of my favorite young adult mysteries. One of my favorite like just books, series in general. Those are so good. And this is her newest release. I also love Five Survive. I've loved all of Holly Jackson's books. I definitely really want to get to this one, especially The Good Girl's Guide to Murder show is starting soon, and it looks so good. The girl from who plays Enid on Wednesday, which is another one of my favorite shows, is playing Pip, and she is the casting director. Ate with that. That was so, I love her. I'm getting off track. I really am. If we can discuss A Good Girl's Guide to Murder another time. But Reappearance of Rachel Price. This book sounds so good to me. Just the description sounds so good. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I think I know. I'm so excited about it. Like, do you ever get so excited about a book where like you just don't read it because like, I don't know, the excitement like makes me nervous. I don't know why. Or I'm gonna be sad when it's over. I just love Holly Jackson so much. So I'm very excited to get to this, but I do want to read this in summer just because, I don't know, I feel like her books give summer to me, even though they're kind of fall vibes. I think I just like to bring fall into summer a lot. The next book that I have is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I really wanted to get into Stephen King. I don't know why this is the one that I picked up. It's just one that I saw at the store. The premise intrigued me, so this is the one I'm going to start with. Also, it's not super long. So some of his books are lengthy, and I don't really want to commit to that. But this one is not bad. So I did want to start with this. Also, the little blurb on the front says that he considers this his most frightening book, and that's a bold statement because I feel like people do not consider this his most frightening book, but he does. And also, summer gives horror to me. Horror movies and just being scared like that, like slashers and stuff, hit in the summer. Summerween. Also, Summerween vlog. So excited for that. So excited. And you might just see this book. The next book that I have is Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucer. I'm really sorry if I butchered that name. Just look at the cover. Like, look at these colors. That's summer to me. So summer. This book, I don't really know anything about it. It was the April book of the month. I don't always get the book of the month, but I saw that it was like about an island family and There's a sea dragon egg. It just sounded really like whimsical, and like look at the little creature, look at that little guy on the front. I just love little animal sidekicks. I don't know if that's an animal sidekick, but I love it. And I don't know, this book just really intrigued me. I think the colors just really stood out to me. I am such a judge a book by your cover kind of girl, and I know I shouldn't be, but I can't help it. And I saw the cover and I wanted it. And I don't really have an explanation other than that, but it's screaming summer to me. Truly screaming summer. Like the island family, the sea dragons, like what more could a girl really want? So I'm very excited to get to this. I'm hoping to get to it soon. And look at that font, it's huge. So it looks big, but the font's ginormous. So I'm excited. I'm hoping to get to that one. The next book I have is A Fragile Enchantment by Allison Saft. I've heard mixed things about this, but as I am someone who judges a book by its cover, I try very hard not to judge it by its Goodreads review, because there are books on Goodreads that have gotten like below 3.5 stars that are some of my all-time favorites, and I've learned that you have to take those reviews with a grain of salt. It could be a favorite, and it's so hard not to judge. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. This is one of them where I was very intrigued by the premise, and I was a half-price books and it just looked like something I'd really enjoy. Then I go on Goodreads and it's like not great reviews, but I'm like, no, you initially thought this was something that you might like, just get it. The reason I really wanted it is because it says on the top, transporting readers to a Regency England inspired fantasy world. A Fragile Enchantment is a sweeping romance threaded with intrigue, unforgettable characters, and a love story for the ages. There's something about me that I think I've made very abundantly clear. I love the Regency era. I love it so much. I will always want to read a book in the Regency era. Add a little fantasy mix in there. You have the recipe for a potential of one of my favorite books of all time. Not saying that I think it will be, but it has the right ingredients for a book that I will absolutely adore. Honestly, it's kind of just giving fairy tale vibes. Another thing, love fairy tales. Love them so much. That's what it's giving. It was kind of giving Once Upon a Broken Heart vibes, which is one of my favorite books of all time, so that's kind of why I wanted to get it too. So I'm very excited to read this. Like a very light fantasy is what I'm looking for in summer. Like the high fantasies, that's winter. That's why I love winter. I love to read this in the winter, but this is giving summer. The last book on my summer TBR that I physically own is What Happens After Midnight by K.L. Walther. I've loved this author. The Summer of Broken Rules I read last summer, and it was so good, guys. Like, was it a masterpiece? No. But it had Taylor Swift references. It had a summer lake house. I truly never felt more like at peace in summer than when I was reading that book. So I bought her new release with What Happens After Midnight, and I think Midnight is supposed to be a Taylor Swift reference too. And I love Taylor Swift references in books, guys. I eat it up. I know it annoys some people, but I love it every time. I think I just flipped to a page and saw like Invisible String. I could be wrong. Maybe I was just looking for it. Yeah, I don't know. But I would love to read this. Her books are always super light and like just happy. So I think this will be good again for like a little palette cleanser in between. Okay, so I have some other books on the TBR that I would love to read this summer, but have just come out, so I haven't got them yet. Okay, one of them was Not in Love, but then I looked at like what other people were saying, and like it said like it's not as like cutesy rom-com as the rest of her book. Definitely leans more into the spice side of it, and like that's not really what I love in romances. So I'm kind of debating like passing up this new Ali Hazelwood release just because it doesn't sound like something I'll love, even though I love her other books. If you guys have read Not in Love already, I would love to know your opinions because I'm very on the fence about buying it. The next book I'm really excited to read this summer is, I will definitely be reading this summer. I'm so excited about it. It's The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden. I love Freida McFadden so much. I love The Housemaid. The whole series, like I read The Housemaid in like 4 hours. It's so good. And I think this is the final installment of it. I'm just really excited about it. I love it. I love the way she writes thrillers. It's so good. The next book that just came out that I'm very excited about is A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. She's one of my favorite romance authors. I loved The 7-Year Slip. I liked The Dead Romantics. And A Novel Love Story just came out, and I am so excited to read it. So excited. Another book that I would love to read is Foxglove by Adeline Grace. I read Belladonna and that one snuck up on me. If you watch my reading vlog, I was not expecting to love that one as much as I did, and I wanted to jump right into Foxglove, but I'm waiting for the paperback to come out in July, so when that comes out, I'm going to read it. Another book that I do not have, this one's very like on the fence. It depends if I read my other Kristen Hanna book that I have, but I would love to read Firefly Lane. I've seen people talking about that recently, and I love Kristen Hanna. She's one of my favorite authors too. The Nightingale, so good. I would also love to read Kiki's Delivery Service. I definitely kind of want to get into like, I don't think Kiki's Delivery Service is manga, but I don't think it is, but I do want to kind of get into manga. I want to read like The Witchwood Atelier, I think is the one I want to start with. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have not even dipped a toe in that world, but I love to try new genres. I love trying new things, so expanding my reading palette. So Kiki's Delivery Service is definitely something I want to try. That would be very new for me, and I love trying new things. The last book on this summer TBR is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I am ecstatic that it is a new release. I love Riley Sager so much. The only one left is probably might be my favorite thriller. It's probably tied with The Housemaid as my favorite, but I love The Only One Left, and I really like The House Across the Lake. I've just loved everything he's written. I love his books. Something about the way he writes thrillers really just does it for me. His plot twists get me every time. Always mind boggled. I'm very excited to read his newest release. So guys, this has been my incredibly ambitious summer TBR, but it is always fun at the beginning of a season to just kind of look at your books and see which books you are excited for. Like seasonally, I'm such a seasonal girl. Like I love seasons. Like I could never live somewhere that doesn't have seasons, because I just get so excited at the beginning of each season. Even though I don't love summer, I love seasons. So at the beginning of the summer, I do get excitement for just entering a new like vibe. So, and I love looking at my books and seeing which kind of fits that seasonal vibe. But what also means is the next TBR video I make is gonna be fall. That one's gonna go crazy, guys. I love fall with all my heart. If you guys want to see me reading some of these books, I film a ton of reading vlogs, and very high likelihood that one of these will pop up in one of those vlogs. So if you want to see my thoughts and opinions on these books, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like me or my videos, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comment down below what's on your summer TBR. I'm very curious. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.